past couple of years, we have become accustomed to expecting the unexpected, but soon we may have to start anticipating the unthinkable. As the U.S. enters into a new post-pandemic reality, cities across the country are dealing with a surge in homicides and other violent crimes, including a rash of mass shootings on biblical proportions, with some officials fearing that the worst is yet to come. This is a subject matter I would rather not talk about. However, crime throughout the United States is absolutely exploding. When we talk about real estate, investing in companies in the stock and stock market, we need to consider crime rates for our own investment strategy as well as our clients' portfolios. Recent crime data shows that relatively few cities have been spared from a rise in homicides this year. While experts have some hope that the summer won't be as deadly as 2020, which saw the biggest one-year spike in homicides in more than a generation, they caution that the U.S. may be heading on a troubling trajectory in 2021. Look at this chart. It's astonishing, addressing the crime surge in major U.S. cities across the United States. Take number one, Atlanta. Homicides increased 58%, shootings 40%. New York City, 13% homicides, 64% shootings. Portland, 533% increase in homicides, 126 in shootings. Chicago, 18%. Los Angeles, 22%, 51%. Philadelphia, 37% increase in homicides, 27% increase in shootings. Did you know that 296 mass shootings have happened in the United States this year? The vast majority of mass shootings are taking place in core urban areas. And at this point, many of our largest cities are becoming open war zones. It's getting to be like the movie District 9. We desperately need more law enforcement officers on the streets. Even some of our most liberal cities are now racing to refund the police. Crime rates spiked dramatically all over the nation in 2020, and they are skyrocketing even higher in 2021. But if you think that things have been bad so far, just wait, because we are being warned that a bloody summer is on the way. Yahoo News, from Chicago to New York City, grappling with rise in shootings, murders. It's been a very bloody year, and it's going to continue. The spike in homicides and non-fatal shootings is extremely alarming, said the Miami police chief, who recently left the police department and leads the Major Cities Chiefs Association, an organization of law enforcement executives. One of the reasons, we talk about a bloody summer ahead of our, country is because it's already has been a very bloody year, very deadly year for Americans, and there is usually more violent crime when the weather is warmer, and we have definitely seen that so far here in the month of June. Mass shootings are considered to be incidents in which at least 4 people are wounded, and during this past weekend, we have witnessed mass shootings in New Jersey, Colorado, Indiana, Virginia, Alaska, Louisiana, Minnesota, Texas, California. It's unbelievable. They're happening with such frequency now that each one barely makes a blip in the news before the next one happens. To me, the most disturbing incident during the weekend took place in Chicago area, and in another deadly shooting in the city on Saturday night, 2 individuals were attacked by a group of men after a crash took place in Humboldt Park, prompting a large crowd to surround the poor guy's vehicle. He and his girlfriend, Yasmin Perez, were attending a Puerto Rican People's Day parade in the park. Newsweek reported when a group of 2 or 3 gunmen ambushed them and opened fire. A video of the incident was posted to Twitter, purposely shows the gentleman surrounded by a group of men who leave him lying unresponsive on the ground. Words really cannot convey the true horror of the attack. If you have not seen the video footage yet, you should check it out. It's absolutely shocking. Maybe our politicians should watch that as well. When I first watched it, I could hardly believe what I was seeing. There has always been violence in our streets, but nothing like this. What in the world is happening to our country? Overall, the number of shootings in the city of Chicago is up 18% so far this year. I know that sounds bad, but other major cities are seeing larger spikes. In Philadelphia, the number of shootings is up 27% so far this year. And it's supposed to be the city of brotherly love, but is rapidly becoming one of the most dangerous places in America. In Atlanta, the number of shootings is up 40% so far this year, but at least basketball's looking good. The Hawks are doing well, right? In Los Angeles, the number of shootings is up 51% so far this year. Crime is now the number one political issue in the LA area. And even tourist areas such as Venice Beach are being totally trashed. Have you been to Venice Beach lately? In New York City, the number of shootings is up 64% so far this year. The Big Apple running gun battles even happen during broad daylight these days. In Minneapolis, the number of shootings is up 90% so far this year. Minneapolis used to be a lovely city, but now has fallen into the madness. But there is one major city that even has Minneapolis bleed, and it's Portland. The number of shootings is up 126% so far this year. Everywhere you look, there's chaos and violence. And what we have been through so far is just the beginning. Experts are saying it is almost as if a significant percentage of the population has gone completely and totally nuts over the past couple of years. In this sort of environment, you never know what some crazy person might do. Here's just one example. A Bel Air homeowner is in shock after coming face to face with a violent naked man who broke into his house and killed the family pets. Matt Sabaz was home alone Thursday afternoon when his wife called to tell him that the security cameras showed a naked man breaking into the house. You got to be really sick and twisted to want to kill somebody's pets. Unbelievable. Sadly, right now, there are vast numbers of really sick people running around out there, and many of them would kill you and your family without even thinking twice about it. Up to this point in 2021, a total of 20,842 Americans have died as a result of gun violence, and by the time most of you read this and listen to this nonsense, the number will be eventually higher. Total number of gun violent deaths, 20,842. Homicide murders, 9,424. Suicides, roughly 11,418. Total number of injuries, 18,390. And mass shootings, 297. Ironically, many of the cities have the strictest gun laws, also have some of the highest murder rates. In Chicago, the number of gang members is more than 10 times greater than the number of law enforcement officers, and that is causing enormous problems. The politicians can pass many laws, all the laws they want, but violent criminals are going to remain heavily armed, and they are going to retain the upper hand for the foreseeable future. Of course, Chicago is far from alone. Violent criminals are gaining the upper hand in communities all over the country. And, meanwhile, police officers are resigning at record numbers from coast to coast after being relentlessly demoralized by the mainstream media for months on end. Our society is really coming apart at the seams all around us. Unfortunately, most Americans still do not understand what is happening. They're busy playing video games and watching professional football or basketball and not living their own lives. Most Americans still assume that things will eventually return to normal, but a return to normal is simply not in the cards. Trust me, it's not going to happen. I would leave with one point. Maybe defunding the police, empowering criminals and gangs to take over the streets is not a good idea for political means. I don't want to get political, but it's obviously backfired. And thankfully, I think cities all across the country are reassessing and realizing that law and order is important throughout this country to keep people safe in our country so we can have happy lives. And improving our cities as well. So hopefully it's a wake-up call, because this is very tragic and sad what's going on in this country. I know people that are personally affected by this. And, personally, I have a police officer a long time ago that got me out of a sticky situation. I would say saved my life. And he said to me, Tim, we get a bad rap by a lot of people, but when you don't need a cop, we're the worst. When you need a cop, we're your best friend. And he said, I still get calls today of people that I saved their lives and helped them, and they're so thankful, and they maybe had a bad attitude of police, and I still get calls. But I remember what this individual did for me. And, they have a very tough job. Every day their life is in danger, and I appreciate what the police do. We all need to come together and solve these problems and not be so divided. Love should prevail. So I'm off my soapbox. I just wanted to share that information. It's very troubling what's going on in our world right now in the United States. I believe in this country. It's the best place in the world. I'm very thankful for what I have in my family and the friends that I have, and hopefully new friends. It's a wonderful place. We need to fix these issues, and we need to come, and our politicians in the cities that you live in, and get involved. And a lot of people just focus on getting reelected and not solving problems. We need to solve these problems, and I need to do a better job and get actively involved, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. Take care, be creative, and kind. Ciao.